On this episode of Jeff's American Dream Car, we're going with a Go-Wang. And I tell you what I think about it. Hey Scully, if I put sauce on that, would it be like a Buffalo Go-Wang? Sorry. Okay. Hey YouTube, it's Jeff with Jeff's American Dream Car again. This is going to be a little bit more different than my normal videos. This is really kind of a product review as well as an instructional video. So what I have here is what's called a Go-Wang, excuse me there. The Go-Wang is a spoiler that goes across the back of the trunk and was an option on 1970, and then 1971 was what was called a Gold-Wang, which looks a little bit different. So I bought this wing off of eBay from a company that goes by Stripes Classics. As far as I can tell, the company also goes by Josh's Muscle Cars as their main website, and maybe a couple other names out there, kind of hard to tell. Also, when I looked at the package here, you can see here, up underneath the little deal, RPI, which is another company that sells parts. So I'm not sure how they're affiliated, but I know when I got the shipping bill, it said RPI on it. So anyway, price was right about $350, which is about $100 less than most of the other Go-Wangs. This is their Concours grade material. So I sent them some emails. They answered really quickly. They said it was a little bit better finish, ready to go on the vehicle. If you've looked at some of the other aftermarket rigs out there, or the units out there, some of them that are made out of fiberglass get really kind of a texture that doesn't look right. And they also, a lot of times, look extra thick. So got the package pretty well, protected. Lots of bubble wrap. And the nice thing I like about this one is this is made out of ABS like the originals. You look here, you see the pedestal mount spots, but the big thing is here, it's not super thick like some of the other options out there. So really happy. Texture looks good, paint looks good. So that's the plus side of this unit. The mounting brackets here, the pedal stools, and then this is all the hardware that you use, the little pivots, and then the gaskets, and again, part of the pedestal mounts. Mostly happy with the kit. Have a couple gripes with this. I think they kind of cheaped out in a couple places here. Right here, if you look here, here's the pedestals, pivots. Looks like they just took some basic rod there and just lopped them off. Just one right after the other. Not a super good finish. Looks like they used like maybe a hand grinder just to get it close and then throw it in a bag. The other major gripe that I have here is these right here. Same deal, all thread. They ended up just, like I said, just lopping them off, trying to make it good. I ended up having to run all four of these things through a thread chaser, and because a couple ends were boogered up, it probably would cost them another $2 to get real threads or get real studs, and wouldn't have to have that problem. I'm not sure if it was a problem because of the all thread, but I also had to run a tap through all these to make them work right. So other than that, pretty happy with the kit. The other kit problem that I have with it, I think they were kind of deceptive here. If you look right here, they got this little white thing on the outside of the package. When you look at their eBay ad, they particularly on the hardware, they show you made in the United States. Well, if you go ahead and I'll show it to you here in a minute here. What I did is when I first got this, the packaging looked a lot like what you see from offshore. Just the coloration of the tape, stuff like that I've seen before. And this kind of made me wonder when I saw the RPI here was not covered. So what I did is I took on the other side that has the same tape covering. What I did is I took a hairdryer so as to not pull off any of the printing on the other side. And let me show you what I found. So this is what I found when I took the tape off the box. It said made in Taiwan. I was kind of a little upset about it, but what I did is I actually reached out to the company, in fairness to them, and asked them what the situation was. So what they told me was they were repurposing the box. This is a box that they get, believe it or not, wings from Taiwan for their Mustang. So sorry, Mustang guys, you got a Taiwan part. And the wing that they have for Mopar guys is actually made in the United States. So they were really fair about answering quickly. They offered to buy the thing back from me, thinking I was upset, but handled really nicely by them. So here it is, the installed unit. Turned out really nicely, pretty happy with it. As I said earlier, when I was opening the box, texture, color all looks good. The pedal stools actually look authentic, so that's what they call the Concours wing. Now, I will say that there are other ones out there. I would call this a good show quality wing. I wouldn't call it 100% correct. There is a paint out there that the factory had that had a little texture to it. This is a smooth finish. If you want something for a numbers matching Concours car, that might be the way you want to go. But for the $150 that I save from not having to do that, like I said, I won't be at all disappointed to drive around with this wing. I originally was going to do an installation video. That turned out to be a little problematic, but I will kind of review a couple of things that I liked and a couple tips that maybe when you're going to put this wing on yourself that might be helpful. Now, the first thing that I will complain about is there are no instructions in this. I actually had to kind of figure it out. It's not too hard. I have another gentleman's video that I'm going to reference down in my remarks area, and that way you can just copy and paste and get a link to that, and it'll kind of show you what he had to do to cut the bottoms out. Now, I was lucky enough, mine is a factory hood that has the cutouts and all the provisions here for the mountings here. So if you look down here, this looks like factory, like you would see on any Go wing. The hardware is pretty original looking from what I can tell, and it made it actually pretty easy since I had the factory wing. I was able to just screw these plates into place, and with these little nuts here, and then what I did was I actually ran an awl up and made a mark to drill from the bottom, and then that was the way I placed it. So I used a small pilot hole, and I drilled up from the bottom, and then I drilled up into the top, and the top down. That way I would be less likely to chip any paint. I also used some body paint, or body tape on the top and the bottom just to keep my chipping down, and just a chance that I might, scratch something up. Now, the other thing is, if you don't have the marks, the factory stuff, you're going to have to cut all this out. You're going to have to measure everything from the top. And what I would do instead of using those clips is I would take these little guys right here and just drill a hole there. Maybe not use these. Use a tough self-tapping screw of some sort. Doesn't need a whole lot of strength to pull it in. Maybe if you want to get a little bit more technical, run a nut zert in there, and then run a different screw, of course, in there. But other than that, it's a pretty solid setup. In the other video, you can see how I don't think I can get it in there, but back in here, there's that if you look at my original hardware picture, there's a flat washer, a lock washer, and then there's another specialty nut in there. So what I did is I ran the flat washer, then the lock washer, and then the specialty nut in there to sandwich it in between on the trunk. And then you put this little thing on first, and then you put this bracket on, and then you can, once you get those in there, you can kind of screw these in just a little bit at a time. As far as other tips, what I did is, if the original gaskets have plenty of room, you don't have to, it's a 1/4 inch stud there that you're using, you'll want to go up a little bit. I used a 3/8, it gave a little bit of room, made it slide in a little bit easier. I ended up taking a little bit of a die grinder and kind of elongating the holes out a little bit. Also had to elongate a little bit of the holes on the bottom brackets. But when it was all said and done, I'm a 1/16 of an inch off, so pretty square. Really, again, happy with the look, and I would give this kind of a 4.5 star type of rating for what I ended up with. Just because A, lack of instructions, B, the hardware, and C, you know, it's not 100% correct. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Again, would recommend the product. It's Stripes Classic, again, on eBay. Josh's Muscle Car, RBI. I'm not sure exactly who they are. They all are out of that same area in Ohio. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and see you on the next one.